Have you ever found yourself sitting on your couch watching a show and your thumb is just sort of hovering right over the fast forward button?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Like you are literally just waiting to skip past the main characters, the people on the poster.
The ones who do all the press junkets.
Exactly, the ones the show is supposedly about. You're skipping them just so you can see what the secondary characters are doing in the background.
Yeah.
Be honest, you've done it. We have all done it.
I mean, it's practically a universal viewing experience at this point.
Yeah.
You're actively bypassing the primary narrative architecture, like the entire structural foundation the writers spent months building just to get to the fringes of the story.
Yeah, you're digging through the margins to find the actual gold.
Right.
And today, our mission for this deep dive is to figure out why we do that. We are unpacking the phenomenon of the side plot, specifically looking at boys' love, or BL, and how secondary couples just consistently steal the show.
They really do.
And for anyone who might not be deep into that world, boys' love is a romance genre that has absolutely exploded into live-action television, particularly across Asia. It's built on these very established romance tropes and fueled by highly, highly engaged fandoms. So it is essentially the perfect petri dish for studying how romance dynamics work on screen.
It really is. And this phenomenon, it isn't just about romance, It's about what this quietly radical shift reveals about modern storytelling and about our own psychology as an audience.
Yeah, how we actually consume media today. Okay, so let's unpack this, because skipping the main storyline to watch the side characters, it feels a little bit like eating only the frosting off a cupcake and just, I don't know, throwing away the actual cake.
That's a great way to put it.
It feels a bit wrong, maybe a little greedy, but there's no denying it is the best part.
Well, what's fascinating here is the trajectory these subplots usually take. Like, these side plots almost always start off as pure utility.
Right, like they serve a function.
Exactly. A writer needs an emotional support system for the main leads, or a comedic contrast, or sometimes, honestly, they just need filler.
Just to pad out a 45-minute runtime?
Yeah, because the main story just doesn't have enough juice. But then, almost imperceptibly, those utility characters reshape the entire viewing experience.
The supposed main story starts to feel like background noise.
Right. The B-plot becomes the emotional core of the show.
Yeah.
And that brings us to a really uncomfortable question about how television is structured. I mean, were the leads ever the real focus to begin with?
Or were they just the Trojan horse used to get the side characters on screen?
Exactly.
That is such a wild thought, that the characters with like 90% of the screen time are basically just a waiting room for the characters with 10% of the screen time.
Yeah, it's wild.
We literally skip to these B-plot scenes because we want more of them. But why is that desire so incredibly strong?
Yeah,
It seems like it comes down to basic, fundamental supply and demand.
that's exactly it. It's what the source calls the starvation effect.
The starvation effect.
Yeah. It's driven entirely by the magnetic pull of underexposed chemistry. Because side couples have such limited screen time, that scarcity creates immense, disproportionate value.
You aren't being overwhelmed with constant exposure to them.
Right, you aren't watching them brush their teeth or, talk about the weather. So when they finally do appear on screen, every single glance, every stray line of dialogue,
It's huge.
yeah, every tiny moment of physical proximity is amplified 100-fold. A hand just brushing against a sleeve becomes this massive cinematic event.
It's like the main couple is this massive, sprawling, all-you-can-eat buffet.
Oh, I like that.
You walk in, everything is laid out under heat lamps, it's totally unrestricted, you can have as much as you want, and yeah, it's good at first. You pile your plate high.
But eventually you get stuffed.
Right, you get stuffed, the flavors all blend together, you're sluggish, and you're just kind of bored.
Yeah.
But the side couple, they are that exclusive, impossibly hard-to-book tapas restaurant down a dark alley. They bring you one tiny, perfect, meticulously crafted plate. You eat it, it's incredible, and you are left constantly wanting just one more bite.
That is, taking that tapas idea a step further, the precision of that single plate is what makes it work. Main storylines are constantly burdened with over-explanation.
Oh, for sure.
They map everything out for you at that buffet.
Yeah.
You get the childhood motivations, the deeply traumatic backstories.
The exact emotional turning points spelled out in these long, lingering monologues.
Exactly. But side couples exist almost entirely in fragments. Their histories are only hinted at in passing remarks. Their emotional stakes are implied, rather than completely spelled out.
They don't have time to spell it out.
Right. There is a profound lack of narrative saturation. You might just see them sharing a deeply intense look across a parking lot while the main couple is, like, arguing in the foreground.
And you have no idea why they are looking at each other like that.
You have no idea.
Which means we, the viewers, have to do the work.
Yeah.
We start theorizing, we speculate, we fill in the blanks, we're pausing the screen to analyze body language. But wait, I have to challenge this a little bit.
Go for it.
If the writers aren't giving us the backstory and they aren't spelling out the motivations, does that mean they're basically getting away with doing less work?
Ah, I see what you mean.
Like, are they just tossing out half-baked fragments and letting the audience do all the heavy lifting to make the story compelling? Isn't that just lazy writing?
Well, it's tempting to look at it as a narrative shortcut or even lazy writing. But the text frames this collaborative construction between the text and the audience as a massive strategic advantage,
Okay, how so?
especially in our current interactive media landscape. Because you, the viewer, are actively participating in connecting the dots, your engagement deepens significantly.
You have skin in the game now.
Exactly. You have skin in the game. It makes the chemistry between the characters feel less manufactured and less choreographed by a writer's room.
It feels raw.
Yes. It feels almost accidental, as if these two characters are discovering their relationship in real time right alongside you, rather than just performing a pre-written, heavily vetted script.
Wow, okay. So scarcity makes us pay attention, and the ambiguity forces us to engage our own imaginations.
Right.
But what keeps us hooked long-term is what these characters are actually allowed to do with their limited time.
This is where we run into what the source calls the burden of narrative obligation.
The burden of narrative obligation.
The central pairing in a BL story, or really any romance or genre story, carries the massive crushing weight of commercial expectation.
Oh, yeah. They have to fulfill specific genre conventions.
They have to maintain a very specific tonal consistency so the audience feels safe. And to stretch their story across an entire 12 or 16 episode season, they often have to suffer through prolonged misunderstandings.
The cyclical conflicts.
Right, and a very carefully paced slow burn that eventually starts to feel obligatory rather than organic.
They have to hit all the required checkpoints on the genre highway. You know the ones?
Oh, definitely.
The accidental fall where they catch each other.
Yes.
The scene where one of them gets sick and the other has to wipe their forehead with a wet cloth.
A classic.
But here's where it gets really interesting. If the risky, fragmented, unconventional stuff is so much better and everyone clearly prefers it, why don't writers just make the main couple risky?
Well,
Why not give the leads the unpredictable dynamic and the mysterious glances?
you have to think about the economics of television here.
Yeah.
The leads carry the commercial weight of the entire property. The advertising, the sponsorships, the network backing.
It all relies on.
It all relies on them.
Yeah.
They are designed by absolute necessity to be broadly appealing. They need to be balanced, relatable, and emotionally accessible to the widest possible demographic.
You simply cannot alienate the core audience with your main characters.
Exactly. Side couples, however, exist completely outside those constraints. They are allowed to be risky because they aren't carrying the primary burden of the show's financial success. They are the experimental lab.
Oh, I see. It's like the main couple is a politician running for national office.
Okay, yeah.
They have to shake every hand, kiss every baby, never say anything too controversial on a hot mic, and try to please absolutely everyone from every demographic.
Right.
Which makes them safe, but inherently kind of boring.
Yeah.
The side couple is the wild card indie artist playing in a basement.
I love that analogy.
They don't care what the mainstream thinks. They can be weird, they can be edgy, they can alienate people, and as a result, they are infinitely more fascinating to watch.
And writers can experiment freely in that basement. They can explore much sharper contrast, extreme power imbalances, intense moral ambiguity, unconventional emotional rhythms that would be far too destabilizing for the politician to survive. And because of this, side characters are granted a very specific, rare type of complexity on screen. They're allowed to be deeply flawed in much more interesting ways.
Like they can be colder.
Colder, more selfish, highly contradictory, and even manipulative.
They don't have to be likable all the time. They don't have to be the perfect boyfriend.
Exactly. Their emotional journeys aren't about maintaining maximum likability for the viewer. They're about transformation. And because these characters start from a less idealized, perhaps even genuinely unlikable starting point, Their growth feels actually earned rather than pre-packaged.
Oh, that makes so much sense. When a truly flawed, selfish side character gets a redemption arc, and you see them finally make a selfless choice, it carries a weight that resonates deeply.
Right. It lands harder specifically because we saw how far they had to climb out of the mud to get there.
Yeah. So these risky, flawed characters work so well precisely because their stories are delivered with ruthless structural efficiency. Like there is zero fat on a B plot. You can't have a filler episode for a character who only gets 3 minutes of screen time.
You really can't.
Yeah.
And the structural role of the B-plot acts as an essential emotional counterbalance to the main narrative.
Okay, counterbalance how?
Well, think about a typical mid-season slump.
Oh, yeah.
The central storyline gets entirely stagnant. The leads are trapped in another cycle of indecision, or, they drop a phone in a puddle, lose a phone number, and spend 3 entire episodes staring mournfully out of separate bus windows.
Ugh, yes, it's exhausting.
Right at that moment, when the audience's attention is drifting, the side couple steps in as an injection of momentum. Their scenes are corrective.
Corrective.
Yeah, they snap you back to attention and reset your emotional engagement with the entire show.
Okay, but so what does this all mean for the main narrative? If the side couple's main job is to swoop in and be corrective when the main couple gets boring, is the B plot essentially just a rescue mission for a poorly paced main story?
That's a fair question.
Are we just slapping a really good, highly concentrated Band-Aid on a fundamental structural problem?
It's a very valid critique,
Yeah.
but the source points out it's less about bad writing and more about the inherent nature of extended screen time.
Okay.
Extended screen time naturally, unavoidably dilutes emotional impact. It stretches moments that might have been incredibly powerful into something more routine.
Because they just have so much time to fill.
Exactly. Side scenes, simply by virtue of having less time, are inherently more efficient. Within a deeply compressed time frame, maybe 2 minutes before a commercial break, they have to establish tension, develop the character, and deliver an emotional payoff.
There is simply no room for excess dialogue. Every single interaction has to carry significant narrative weight.
Right.
They have to get in, hit you right in the feelings, and get out before you even realize what happened.
And a key part of executing that efficiency is the strategic use of withholding.
Withholding. Okay, like holding back the big moments.
Exactly. Main couples often delay their key moments. The big confession, the physical intimacy, the resolution of an argument through repetitive external obstacles.
Oh, like a phone rings right as they lean in.
Yes. Or a side character walks into the room at the exact wrong moment, or someone mishears a conversation through a slightly cracked door.
Ugh, the classic trope where they just refuse to communicate like normal human beings for 6 hours of television.
It gets so incredibly frustrating.
You just want to shake them.
But side couples delay those key moments not through repetitive, frustrating obstacles, but through pure absence.
Because they're just not on screen.
Right. The audience is given just enough to remain invested, but never enough to feel satisfied. They just aren't on screen as much.
Wow.
This strategy creates a sustained tension that can last across entire episodes or even multiple seasons without ever feeling tired. It results in a highly addictive viewing experience where anticipation, rather than resolution, becomes the primary driver of your engagement.
Anticipation is the driver.
Yeah.
And this intense, compressed, highly efficient storytelling, relying on anticipation and fragmenting, this doesn't just work well on television.
No, it doesn't.
It happens to be the exact formula that absolutely dominates the modern internet. It is tailor-made for the scroll.
It really is a perfect convergence. There is a direct connection between this narrative structure and our current digital landscape.
Yeah.
Social platforms have fundamentally altered how we consume, discuss, and even process stories.
Right. We don't just sit down, watch an episode from minute 1 to minute 45, and then quietly move on with our lives anymore.
No, viewers today fragment the narrative themselves. They edit it, they recontextualize it, they slice it up. And in this highly volatile, fast-paced digital environment, side couples absolutely thrive.
Because it's practically ready-made for social media. A 5-minute B-plot storyline with a massive, concentrated emotional payoff is exactly like a viral TikTok sound.
It is.
It's short, it punches you in the gut, and it spreads like wildfire because it requires zero context. The multi-episode main arc, with all its slow-burn pacing and required backstory, is like a 2-hour documentary.
Yeah.
It might be a masterpiece, but nobody has the time or the attention span to clip a documentary and share it effectively on a scrolling feed.
The digital ecosystem rewards intensity over duration every single time. As a result, side couples completely dominate fan edits. Think about what those edits actually look
Oh,
like.
I know exactly what they look like. It's always a slowed down, moody synth pop track.
Always. The lighting is tweaked to be a little darker, and the editor hyperfixates on a 3-second clip,
Like the way one character's jaw clenches.
or a hand lingering near a door handle.
Or a glance that barely registered in the actual episode.
Exactly. The fans take these already compressed narratives and strip away literally everything except the most compelling high-tension moments. That editor turns a 45-minute episode into 15 seconds of pure, unadulterated yearning.
And by doing this, they effectively transform the side couple into the actual main story within those digital spaces.
Which creates a massive feedback loop.
Right. The edit goes viral, people who have never even heard of the show see the edit, and suddenly they are invested in these two characters.
A tremendous feedback loop. Increased visibility on social media leads to increased discussion in the comments, which triggers algorithms to push that specific video further, leading to even more visibility.
And the side couple becomes the absolute focal point of the fandom discourse.
Completely, regardless of what their original narrative position was supposed to be in the script. The writers might have intended for them to be comic relief, but the internet has decided they are a tragic, star-crossed romance.
That is wild.
And for international audiences, this is particularly potent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For many viewers who encounter a series entirely through these translated viral clips rather than full episodes on a streaming service, the side couple is not secondary. They are the actual literal entry point to the entire franchise.
Okay, but wait. If the side couple is driving the online conversation and driving the international audience, the studios and the networks definitely notice that.
Oh, they definitely notice.
So if the industry has figured this out, and writers are now deliberately engineering side couples for breakout success, casting specific actors with established chemistry, designing subplots purely for merch, for fan events, for their own spin-off series.
Yep.
Doesn't that completely ruin the magic?
Yeah.
If it's just a formula now, a calculated attempt to manufacture virality, doesn't it lose its soul?
You're pointing out a tension that is actively changing the entertainment industry right now. What was once a purely organic, audience-driven phenomenon, finding a hidden gem in the background of a scene, is now undeniably a calculated production strategy.
They're trying to bottle lightning.
Exactly. Casting choices and subplot developments are increasingly designed with this specific breakout potential in mind. These characters aren't just supporting elements anymore.
They are leads in waiting.
Yes. They are being auditioned for their own shows right in front of us.
Yeah.
And yes, it is driven by massive economic implications. A viral pairing generates immense revenue in merchandise, touring fan meets, and international streaming rights.
So the wild cards, the indie artists in the basement, they're becoming the politicians.
Basically.
They're being brought into the mainstream.
In a way, yes. Some of these secondary dynamics prove to be vastly more commercially viable than the heavily funded main storyline.
Wow.
But what emerges from this isn't necessarily the death of the magic. The source suggests it's a gradual, fascinating redefinition of the entire narrative hierarchy.
How so?
We are moving away from the traditional model.
Yeah.
One central couple supported by minor, disposable threads, and shifting toward a fluid, ensemble-driven structure.
So multiple relationships are now actively competing for emotional dominance within a single narrative.
Precisely. The success of a show isn't on the shoulders of two leads anymore. It's on the strength of the entire ecosystem of characters. If one pairing isn't working for you, another one will.
That makes total sense. So to bring this all together for you listening, the next time you find yourself sitting on that couch with that thumb hovering over the fast forward button, skipping ahead or rewatching only those very specific intense scenes, do not feel guilty.
No, not at all.
You aren't just being impatient, and you don't just have a broken attention span ruined by social media. You are actively responding to emotional density rather than supposed narrative importance.
Right.
You are proving with your viewership and your time that impact matters so much more than screen time.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, when side couples steal the show, they're doing something incredibly vital for the evolution of media.
Oh, definitely.
They are exposing the limitations of a traditional storytelling system that prioritizes a singular focus. They are demanding that narratives be dynamic, efficient, and emotionally resonant at all times, not just when the highest paid actors are on screen.
It really proves that we are naturally drawn to this intense starvation diet of the B-plot.
Yeah.
The tapas, the viral fan edits, the hyperfixated fragments. But it leaves me with one final thought to chew on.
What's that?
If we, as audiences, become entirely conditioned to crave only these compressed, highly efficient, emotional payoffs, what happens to the art of long-form, slow-burn storytelling?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Right. If we lose the patience for the setup, does the payoff lose its meaning? Will the very concept of a traditional main story eventually disappear entirely, leaving us with nothing but a collection of high-stakes, breathless side plots?
It's entirely possible.
Maybe the day is coming where we won't even need the fast-forward button anymore, because the whole show will just be the frosting.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next one.